I know we're all still grieving, but I really do think we should look into Nanny Agatha's disappearance. Like, I don't believe she's on vacation. Not after what happened to Junior. I understand you care deeply about your grandmother, especially in a time like this, but you know my motivation right now is zero. And you know my relationship with Agatha. She doesn't feel like my mother anymore. So I really have no interest in looking for her. I miss my grandson. Well, are you aware of, like, the power she had over the medical industry in this town? And with her out of the picture, aren't you supposed to, like, take over? Didn't she leave it to you? Yes, I'm aware, of course. I'm sorry I never filled you and Joey in on Nanny Agatha's endeavors, but it was one of those things that I resented because she put so much time into it while she raised me. I felt like I didn't even have a mother back then. This organization of hers has been in the family since 1902. And it's one of those organizations that people in town know about, but it's not highly publicized because it's not going to use like mafia terms, but that's the way people look at it. She pulls the strings with a lot of medical decisions in town, and there's reasons for that, and there's a history there that I've always resented, because I don't like to be born into things. No one should be born into anything. I know that her organization operated behind the scenes somewhat, but it seems like, you know, there's funding decisions and major decisions that need to be made while she's gone, and someone has to step up. I have spent my whole life hoping that Agatha would finally put that organization into the hands of someone else. I didn't want that burden put on me after my divorce, after my childhood. I know you care, and you're a very tree hugger attitude, but you don't know the life that I've lived trying to avoid having to deal with something that I didn't want. I just want to clarify. She ran the Serafina Town Organization of Medical, STUM, correct? Wow. Never really thought, you know, my kids would have to say that name, but yes. Yeah, the Serafina Town Organization of Medical. Since 1902. I think a lot of our relationship was fractured because I didn't want to take it over when she was gone. And now I just feel like she's left and she's forcing it on me. And I'm not, really shouldn't have to burden you with any of this. I can't believe I never knew any of this. Like, and I try to do research and there's like nothing on it. Alright. You must know, before STUM was created in 1902, Serafina Town, being the autonomous territory that it is, a place that operates under its own rules and regulations and laws, the medical industry was very shady. A lot of people died, a lot of people got sick, a lot of pregnancies. Yeah. So, our family, the one good thing we did, was create an organization where things were more regulated, and we started to lobby politicians, and we gained favor with the laws, and now Nanny Agatha oversees the place that if there is a new clinic or a new law that has to be passed regarding something in the medical field, goes by Nanny Agatha. She's got her connections in the Serafina Town government, and she's connected. Okay, there is no shot or medicine or procedure that gets approved without going through her. I know that's a lot to tell you, but you always knew Nanny Agatha had a lot of power and wealth, and she's inherited that. This is why we fought for so long, because at times she told me that, look, I was supposed to gain a lot of wealth. I didn't want the power. It's crazy how Serafina Town can operate under their own jurisdiction like that. There is a reason that I brought it up though, because I did find something in my research. I wanted the money in the will. Do you understand? I didn't want the responsibility of the organization. But that's where we butt heads. So, Brian's family, Miranda's other baby daddy, his family, the ones with the mega church, I think that they're interested in taking over. And I don't know if they've reached out to you, but I think they want to run the organization. And that would mean they have a lot of influence over medical decisions in town and stuff. And I don't think that, just based off of their beliefs, I don't know if that's a good idea. Alright, and what's that? Mom, remember around Thanksgiving how depressed you were and you needed a purpose? And I don't know, I just think that maybe stepping up to run Nanny Agatha's organization, which has been in the family for decades, I think it would be good for you. And it's a selfless act. I know that you're grieving, but this is a way to help other people. The funding that organization gives out and the lobbying that it does to the politicians here in Serafina Town, it's a lot of power, a lot of influence. You could change this town for the better. I have been contacted by them and a lot of other people because everyone is aware that this behavior from Nanny Agatha is not normal. No one quite knows what's going on. But frankly, Gabby, after losing my grandson and my years of mental health struggles and everything in between, I don't owe this town anything. Just because I was born into something does not mean I want to take it over. I don't have the motivation to help the world. So I do have to look into who gets it. Really though, Mom? I don't know, something about them just rubs me the wrong way. I know that they run their mega church and they have a lot of supporters, but do you really want them in charge of the town's medical decisions and funding? And, God forbid one of us gets sick and we need some sort of coverage or something, and who knows what they believe. I can tell that my daughter here has done the research before I explained everything to her. You came here full well knowing what all of this was about. And I'm sorry. I don't want to run some health organization like a mafia boss. I don't care about what medical procedures get approved here, what medicines. I am done. I'm not going to start a whole new career after losing my grandson, after my life turned out the complete opposite of what I wanted. I'm sorry. Are you able to, I know Nanny Agatha left it to you. Are you able to give your position to someone else? Who? Brian's family? They're very godly, very holy. If this town needs anything, with all the kidnappings and burglaries, I think their policies and their outlook could they're already super popular in this town. They already have a stronghold on a lot of politicians, and their church is the epicenter of Serafina Town, so why not? I'm fully capable. Yes. I can be the first generation to give Stoom over to some other family or someone else and be done with it. Alright. The people running it right now in Nanny Agatha's absence, aren't they bugging you to... Absolutely not, Gabby. When you get into that world that Nanny Agatha is in, she was hardened for a reason, okay? I don't want you involved in that type of stuff. It's just, even though it's a known organization among people, there's still stuff that goes on behind the scenes, and I don't ever want you involved in that stuff. I think you're capable, but no. Enjoy your life with Chelsea. Alright? Yes. They want someone to make the decisions, and things are a little bit chaotic. But I've been dragging my feet because I, again, have no motivation. I have considered taking a meeting with Brian's uncle, Jonathan, but I've been dragging my feet with that too. So time will tell what I decide to do, but I am pretty sure that if Nanny Agatha does not come back soon, that Stoom will no longer be in this family. And I'm okay with that. Let someone else run the medical industry in this town. Let other people lobby the politicians and the lawmakers. I can't. You know, for years people would come to me in the church and ask for my prayers regarding their medical problems and change in the medical industry in this town. And I'd always pray for them, but I'd always want more. Well, you'll have to excuse me, being that I'd started at your church not too long ago. I'm not too familiar with what your goals are for the town. I know this church has been around for a very long time, and I know you have a lot of influence, but I'm not familiar with all the ideals, I guess. Well, I'm not happy with the way the system is run. I don't like who runs it. Agatha's been in charge and overseeing things in the shadows almost. And why should that remain? Just because her family made this incredible breakthrough a century ago? Because they've had an impact and made some connections. I've made some connections. The thing is, I have a feeling that Agatha's not coming back, and that means the organization goes to her daughter. And I've been trying to call her because I have this feeling that she may not want that responsibility. And for the first time, another family could be in charge, overseeing a lot of the medical problems and pitfalls and things that this town hasn't changed in way too long. I moved here from Minnesota, so I really wasn't familiar with the fact that Serafina town is so independent from every other place in this country. And I also didn't know that it had its own healthcare organization. People seem happy when I speak to them. What would you change? Well, let me give you an example. A woman's pregnant for 9 months if it's in God's plan, right? So she has to talk to doctors and take time out of her life to go to an office and travel. And it should be a pleasant experience, but it's always funny to me how none of these things, whether it's a bank, a doctor's office, a restaurant, everything has drifted away from the church. I want to make everything connected again. I want, for the first time ever, the church to be incorporated in the funding of these things so that we can remember what's important. I can't really see an issue with that. We see advertisements for all sorts of fast food chains and clothing wear. Why not? Why not see the church slapped on something here? As someone who just started working for you, I would like to be a part of something like that, where I see my place of employment, when I'm checking out at the grocery store. Community. I like community. Why shouldn't the church, with everything that people give to it, why can't the church be incorporated in some doctor's offices, pharmaceuticals? You go to your local drugstore and you see the name of our church as a sponsor. It should all be tied together, as our church is already at the center of this town. But that's not the only thing that I want to do. I want a complete overhaul. Completely. I want to get back to basics. There's so many procedures, so many things that these doctors do in this town that only complicate things. Does that make sense? Like I said, if we can grow the church in a positive way to help people and stuff, I'm for that. I just don't know how you would blend outside of advertising or, fundraisers and stuff. I don't know how you would blend the church with, regular retail outlets or businesses in town, Well, if I were to take over student, I want things simplified, and I want to incorporate the church, but also incorporate our church's philosophies. So, all natural. Why are we funding plastic surgery? Why are we altering people's bodies? Get rid of it. Maybe even make it illegal. No more plastic surgery. No more nose jobs and breast implants. No more defacing. If you want to do that to yourself, leave town, go do it somewhere else. We're not going to fund that. I would honestly, just thinking of my nephew, who's slathered in tattoos. Tattoos were outlawed in the 80s, I think. I would bring that back before banning plastic surgery and stuff. Only because, there are medical tattoos to cover up scars and stuff, but something like a nose job, what about when someone's in an accident and needs reconstructive stuff? Like if the laws ban it, might get a little fishy. We have some details to iron out. Obviously, if you're in an accident and something happens, but still, isn't that part of God's plan? That's the outcome. But moving on from that, there are just surgeries and procedures that don't align with our church. Never have, and yet we're smack in the epicenter. Yet we're next to a doctor's office that does something that contradicts something that we just spoke about in a sermon. So, for example, pregnancies. Back to pregnancies. I don't want any altering. No IVF. No cervical cerclages. Nothing where the doctor has to, interfere with the pregnancy. I'm a firm, obviously, believer in God's plan, and I believe what He wants is what we should do, but I don't know about that, what you're proposing. Charlotte was a miracle baby for many reasons, but before the kidnapping, before the health scares and the mother almost dying during birth, whatever, we thought Brian was infertile. He had no treatment or anything like that. He didn't have to do IVF. He had a baby, and she's a miracle baby for that. If we can get rid of things like IVF and cerclages and all these things that weren't designed by a greater power, then we can have more miracle babies, more stories, more people to come to the church and testify. It doesn't make sense. With all due respect, for a second I did believe that these were your opinions and maybe your ideals, but I'm starting to think maybe you're trying to create problems so that our church can be the hospital, in a sense, a metaphorical hospital, because when there's no hospital around, they will come to us and pray, and I don't think this is a way to boost the numbers, if that makes sense. I'm trying to be as respectful as possible, because I may be misinterpreting what you're saying. Don't make me out to be evil or just focusing on pregnancies. I'm talking about any external man-made thing that helps. Pacemakers, for example. Forget about pregnancies. No pacemakers anymore. We're not putting a device inside the body, right? I don't want that. I want this town to be green, natural. I want the stories to be rich. Maybe the heart recovers in a natural way. Okay, I think I get what you mean. Again, it's like you don't want to deface the body with an external mechanism or device, I personally would just stop at tattoos. I believe the old school stuff, you get a tattoo, you go to hell type of thing. But what about something like a crown after a root canal? That's an external device that didn't originate on a human. Are we banning that as well? I'm just trying to gauge what you mean exactly, because if you're going to ban a pacemaker, then we would have to ban crowns too. Do you know how much money is blown in this town on dental crap? Crowns and root canals that people don't need. I'd be doing them a favor, the people of this town. And the thing is, if you know that you can't get a root canal and you can't get a crown or whatever other dental thing you need, you'll take care of yourself a little bit better. Look, I like working for your church. I love the people there. I love the community. I told you I love communities a lot. And I want to continue working for you. I like you as a human being, but I want to also be real with you here when I say that I don't know whether or not you truly believe what you're saying in terms of restricting crowns and pacemakers. But, or if you just want to make people focus on the church more. And I don't know. I don't know what your real agenda here is, but I've never heard anything like this anywhere. Even across the United States, I think pacemakers and crowns after a root canal are fairly accepted across all types of parties and cultures. I have never seen a priest play devil's advocate before. First for everything. If a heart stops working, that's the plan. Don't mess with it. Don't put a pacemaker in there. It's not supposed to be. And that's, if I have my way, we will save this town a lot of money. We will save this town a lot of a lot of people get root canals when they don't need them. That's what I want to focus on. Do you always need a C-section? I don't know. My realm is the Bible. I'm not, I don't know much about pregnancy stuff. Exactly. And I'm sure that plenty of these doctors don't know either. And a lot of them will be fired. Well, that's if you do wind up running the organization, I guess, right? But I don't know why you're getting so afraid. We're putting the cart before the horse here. She hasn't returned my call. So I don't ever think that I'm going to be the head of this organization. But if I get to be, this church, my father would be proud. That's all I'll say.